It was simple to start the day. Aztecs win in Albuquerque, and they host the Mountain West Conference Championship game. But after falling to New Mexico 23-17 in double overtime, we're looking at a potential four-way tie at 6-2 if UNLV meets Nevada tomorrow. And who goes to the championship game from there will come down to the dreaded metrics or perhaps a coin flip. Hello and welcome to this post-game edition of Aztecs All In after a wild and woolly game that the Aztecs had multiple chances to win, left for dead, and then still had a chance to win. I'm Weiner with Steve Perez. And Steve, I'm a little out of breath after that one. What about you?
Oh, it's my turn to say something? Okay. I am out of breath. Kind of like the Aztecs might have been in altitude, 5,100 feet at University Stadium in front of a full house.
Yeah, your thoughts on that contest, the double overtime Aztecs. It seemed the second half they had multiple chances, great field position, I thought, in the fourth quarter especially. They kept getting the ball back and just couldn't get it done and going to overtime. And then, once you get to overtime, it's a crapshoot.
It need not have gotten that far, Lewis. A couple keys to this game. Explosives, Lewis. 2 touchdowns for the Lobos in the run game on 4th and short. Both went for touchdowns against one of the best defenses in the country, whether it's scoring, rushing overall, rushing TDs allowed. Then there was that last score in the second overtime to a wide open receiver. There wasn't an Aztec defender near him. Then that counts for the difference, in my view, in the ball game. And then number 2, there were the turnovers. Aztecs had the 2. They had the early fumble by Christian Washington. And then there was the one that could have been the ball game, the interception in overtime by Jaden Denegold. He zeroed in on a receiver, which he likes to do. It was a shade high. Ended up in the hands of a safety on the backside of the play. So fortunately, the defense came up with one of their own on their next possession. But when you allow those kinds of explosives and then you commit that many turnovers on the road, it makes it very difficult to come out on top.
Yeah, then when it looked like the Aztecs scored a touchdown in the second half, Jackson Ford wide open, apparently not lined up correctly. I guess he needed to be either back a step or the wide receiver. I'm not exactly sure how that worked, but they called that a penalty, and the Aztecs missed a golden opportunity there too.
Well, didn't want to bring it up going into this game, didn't want to have to talk about it, but definitely appeared to be an issue, and that's the A word, Lewis mentioned it earlier, altitude. University Stadium in Albuquerque, New Mexico, the land of enchantment, 5,100 feet above sea level. You get to that kind of altitude, and there are times when you're gasping for breath, and it affects your ability. You think you're running at full speed, but maybe you're not. And I'd have to say that if this was a game that was going to be played at sea level, even on a neutral turf, it would have been a different outcome. But that's why they play the game, and that's why every football game is played on the home team's field. And that's the advantage. And the crowd showed up too, so give them credit for that.
Yeah, I was just about to say that as well. Those 3 false starts, all because of the crowd. I mean, they were going crazy. I saw a shot of Coach Eck on the sidelines getting the players going. The whole sideline was pushing the crowd to scream, and they definitely made a difference in the game. Aztecs lost their poise there in the overtime. Especially that one play where Denegold just sort of walked out of bounds instead of chucking the ball away for the loss. So, we'll hear from Coach in a few minutes, but he pointed out that, they need to do a better job of coaching up the players for these types of situations. And he was extremely disappointed after the game.
As anyone who would follow the program up to this point and said, all you got to do is win, you do have a better team in most respects, at least on paper, but that's why they play the game. And on paper, the Aztecs were the better team marginally. As it played out, the differences in the game were marginal, and they were some of the ones that I mentioned leading into this, but credit to the Lobos. They win, and they have the best chance of hosting the Mountain West Conference Championship at their place at this point.
Yeah, and with Boise beating Utah State, that means the potential four-way tie. And Jay Posner of the UT just tweeted a few minutes ago that it's going to be decided by computer metrics no matter whether UNLV wins or loses. The only question is whether it's a 3-way or 4-way tie. So the metrics come into play, and I don't even know exactly how that works. I'm not sure which metrics they use or how it's balanced out, because the Aztecs did not play UNLV this year, which is why it's all in this metrics situation.
Well, 3 of the metrics are public, and everyone can look at them, and in those respects, it looks like the Aztecs are in. There's a 4th metric that is proprietary that no one knows except the people who apply that metric at the conference level. So we have to wait and see what they come up with. All we can do is wait at this point.
All right. Well, let's hear from what Coach Sean Lewis had to say after the game. And as I said a few minutes ago, he was extremely disappointed.
Yeah, I feel for the kids. Need to do a better job coaching up the areas of preparation there so that they can be in a better position to be successful. And there's some base things that we can do a good enough job as a staff getting our guys right on. And, just a little disappointed, obviously, really disappointed that we left that opportunity out there when I felt like there was some crucial moments that we could have capitalized on and really, had that thing go our way. Yeah, I don't know. Tough to tell. Obviously, down in that end zone where the crowds were is where the penalties occurred. So, we got to have great discipline there and hold our water and make sure that we don't have those self-inflicted wounds. Yeah, I thought it was a great play by our kid. And it's unfortunate that external factors weighed in there. Yeah, we got to respond. That's what this team has done all year long, and it's the beauty of the life lessons that this game teaches, right? Like, not every day is going to be your day. Some will come up tomorrow. We got to learn from these lessons, these really, really hard lessons, and we got to get back to work and know that there's going to be another opportunity, and we can't let this one beat us twice. On
the other side of the ledger is Coach Jason Eck, and you got to give credit to him for taking a program that looked like it was going to reel this season and instead is in the position to host the Mountain West Championship and beat one of the best defenses in the conference in the San Diego State Aztecs and come out ahead on this one. And quite naturally, he was very excited after this game.
But it was a heck of a win. I thought we competed and found a way. I was really happy with our defense really kept us in the game in the fourth quarter when we were struggling to move the ball. So it was kind of fitting in overtime that they ended on the field, and what a difference our crowd made, getting all those penalties for false starts because our crowd was so good in the game. So just so thankful for our fans, and we're Utah State fans right now, so let's root that they get the win here and we get another game back here next week.
Of course, you heard Eck say they were big fans of Utah State, and one of the people going into this season that we're not big fans of was Utah State's head coach, right? Bronco Mendenhall. He was last year's New Mexico coach and then left to coach Utah State after just one season. So the Lobos fans were big haters of Bronco. They spent the afternoon cheering him on along with Utah State, but of course, Boise State comes out ahead in that one. So Boise State finishes with 2 conference losses, as well as the Aztecs, as well as New Mexico. And now it is up to what happens tomorrow, Nevada, UNLV, to see who joins the party and what happens.
Yeah, it's metrics, and they also said, well, the metrics can't decide it, then it's a potential coin flip. So that's where it really gets a little bit dicey. But what do you say we get to the famous stats and recap?
Sure, let's hear it.
Steve, Aztecs win the toss, decide to defer, so New Mexico gets the ball first. No gain for running back Damon Bankston on first down, but then Jack Lane to Keegan Johnson for 15 to the 42. 7 yards to tight end Dorian Thomas, and 7 yards from Bankston sets up 2nd and 3, and in comes running quarterback James Lobstein, who keeps it for 7. Then after a 6-yard pass to Dorian Thomas and Bankston 5-yard run for a first down, the defense sniffs out a flea flicker tossed back to McKinney, but the defense swarms on him for a loss of 11. That makes it 2nd and 21. Drive stalls after the Lobos pick up 11 more yards. New Mexico tries a 37-yard field goal from Luke Drizwicki. It is good. 3-0 New Mexico. So the Aztecs get the ball for the first time. Can't do much with it. Nice kickoff return from Christian Washington called back due to a Seth Adams holding penalty. First down pass to Nathan Acevedo along the sideline, incomplete. Can't keep his feet in bounds. Christian Washington gains 4, but on 3rd and 6, Jaden Denegal back to pass, throws short. Just a 3-yard completion to Donovan Brown, and the Aztecs are forced to punt. Lobos get the ball back on their own 20, and the Aztecs defense stiffens up. Lane keeps it on first and second downs for no gain and then 3 yards, setting up 3rd and 7. Lane, too much time, is able to find Sean Miller for 10, but after a 1-yard Bankston run on first down and a short 4-yard pass to Thomas, Chris Johnson breaks up a short 3rd down pass, and the Lobos are forced to punt 35 yards to the Aztecs 28. Lobos still up 3-0. Aztecs move the ball nicely on their next drive. Denegal to Donovan Brown for 12, then runs of 8 and 3 by Sutton. Then 1st and 10 from the 49. Denegal deep to Brown, incomplete, but a holding penalty give the Aztecs 10 yards. Then after a Christian Washington run for no gain, Washington gets it again for 4 yards, but fumbles, recovered by New Mexico at their own 35. And New Mexico gets right to work. Lane to Johnson to the Aztecs 48 as the first quarter comes to an end. 3-0 New Mexico. Aztecs with just 34 yards of offense to the Lobos 89. First play of the second quarter, Lobos try another flea flicker, but Lane throws an incompletion. Lobstein back in at quarterback. He runs for 6. Then Lane back in on 3rd down, throws short to Miller for 4, sets up a 4th and 1. Lobstein back in. Aztecs stuff him pretty good, but he bounces out, runs left, and doesn't stop until he hits the end zone. That is a 40-yard touchdown run, and New Mexico takes a 10-0 lead. Kickoff goes out of bounds, so the Aztecs get the ball at their own 35. First down, Denegal pass almost picked off. Not sure what he was thinking. In and out of the hands of Tavian Combs. Aztecs lucky to get a second down opportunity. Denegal hits Jackson Ford for 5, then sets up a 3rd and 5 from their own 40. Denegal goes deep to Donovan Brown, but he can't hold on to it. Hunter Green into punt, a 49-yard punt as New Mexico starts back deep in their own territory at the 15. A 6-yard Scott Trey Humphreys run is called back due to holding. So 1st and 18, and the defense gets New Mexico off the field after a short run and 2 incompletions. Lobos punt. Aztecs, fantastic field position at their own 45, and they go to the ground. Sutton for 14, then 6 yards to Jackson Ford. Then the big play the Aztecs have been waiting for. Christian Washington breaks through the line of scrimmage, gets away from the defenders, gaining 29 yards to the 7. After a Sutton game of 3, a holding penalty makes it 2nd and goal from the Aztecs 15. And then the Aztecs get a break. Looks like a delay of game penalty, but the flag isn't thrown. Denegal keeps it, goes all the way down to the 1 for a 14-yard gain. Then Sutton takes it in for the touchdown. 10-7 New Mexico. 6-play, 55-yard drive in 3 minutes and 16. The Aztecs kickoff pins New Mexico back at their own 15, and the defense makes quick work. A 2-yard pass and a quarterback keeper brings in Lobstein again. Of course, it's a run for 2 short of the first down. Lobos punt, 3 and out. So the Aztecs take over with the middle 8 in play. Last 4 minutes of the first half, first 4 of the second, because the Aztecs get the ball first in the second half. They start off at their own 30, 2 yards to Jalen Hawkins, 3 for Sutton. 4-yard pass to Hawkins. He's busy, sets up a 4th and 1. Sutton gets 2 for the first down, then Washington for 1. So 2nd and 9 from their own 42 as the 2-minute timeout comes, and the Aztecs offense comes up big. To Hawkins for 4. Inside handoff to Hawkins for 4. Then Denegal looks deep, finds Donovan Brown for a 48-yard touchdown. 8 plays, 70 yards in 4 minutes and 14 seconds. 14-10 Aztecs. So the Lobos desperately trying to get some points before the end of the first half. They get the ball at their own 25. Lane keeps it for 13. Then after an incompletion, a hands to the face penalty gives the Lobos the ball 1st and 10 from the Aztecs 47. But King me, baby. Back-to-back sacks from Niles King as the half ends. Aztecs with 14 unentered points. They lead 14-10. Halftime stats, Aztecs with 174 yards of total offense. It's balanced, 88 on the ground, 86 in the air. New Mexico with 147. Lobos had an 8-minute time of possession advantage after the first quarter, but the Aztecs have it for 5 more minutes than the Lobos in the second quarter. Jaden Denigal, 8 of 11 for 86 yards and a touchdown. Christian Washington, 5 for 38 and a fumble. Lucky Sutton, 7 for 32 and a touchdown. New Mexico, Jack Lane, 10 of 16 for 74 yards. Running quarterback James Lobstein, he's the leading rusher for New Mexico, 4 for 52, including, Steve, that 40-yard touchdown run.
Lewis at the half, KKOB caught up with Coach Eck, and he's looking at the bright side at this point, saying if you go back to the beginning of the football season and tell the Lobos fans listening in that if they had the chance to host the championship game just by overcoming a 4-point deficit in the second half against the Aztecs, hey, he'd take it.
We had 30 minutes to try to go win a game. We're down by 4 for a chance to go to a conference championship game. We would have taken it. So we can't look at the fact we had a 10-0 lead and now it's 14-10. I put that perspective on it. Hey, we got to go play our tails off. It's a very good team. We got to go compete our ass off both sides of the ball, try to find a way to win this game, I believe.
All right, so here's the second half that he would take, Lewis. Aztecs start their opening drive at their own 25. They get off to a good start with a Christian Washington carry for 15 to the 40. They follow with 2 carries by Sutton. Will get a first down and 10 at the UNM 44. The drive will then stall. A Denigal scramble for 4. Sutton carries for no gain. And then an incomplete pass brings up a Hunter Green punt into the end zone for a touchback. Lobos down 4. You heard it from the coach moments ago. He believes. Lobos' first drive starts with an incomplete. And then Bankston gets outside for a gain of 17 to the 37. The next 3 plays bring up a 4th and 1 at the 46. And here again, another 4th and 1 short but big play by the Lobos. It's a fake tush push, and out of a bunch formation end around the right side, DJ McKinney ends up with the football, comes out of the backfield around the right side. He will get outside for 54 yards and a touchdown. Aztec defense that held opponents to minimal rushing touchdowns going into this game. They give up 2 huge ones in this one. New Mexico leads again, 17 to 14. Aztecs now need to answer on the road down by 3. Open with a Sutton run for 7 to the 32. Denigal short pass to Will Cianfrini for 5. Follow with a deep throw to Donovan Brown for 18 yards. He picks it up just off the turf. Gets it to the Lobo 45. Sutton carries for 10. Denigal throws incomplete, intended for Washington. There's then a second down carry by Washington for 6 to the 35 of the Lobos. It's 3rd and 4, and it looks like a touchdown now to Jackson for 29 yards. Jackson Ford all alone down the middle, but hold everything. The refs will call an illegal touch by an improperly lined up Jackson Ford, and instead of it being a touchdown, it's a loss of down, and on comes Placencia to attempt a 52-yarder. And the reliable lefty will pull this one wide. Lobos will get it back to start their drive on their own 34. The Aztecs defense produces 2 straight sacks, one by Sam Benjamin, the other one by Amari Cormier. And Bankston will carry for 7 on 3rd down. Lobos will then punt. Mikey Welsh with the fair catch at the Aztec 50, 3:26 left in the 3rd. Nathan Acevedo targeted by Denigal for 6 on 1st down. Washington bounces outside for the 1st down with a gain of 7. Defense is whistled after the play when a Lobos defender tosses the shoe that he pulled off of Washington, and that's going to be a 15-yard penalty to the Lobos 41. Sutton will gain 15 to the 26. He'll gain 3 on the next play to the 23. And then the second down give to Washington is a loss of 3. So 3rd and 10, Denigal throws incomplete for Cianfrini. A lot of contact on the play, no call. And now there's a 44-yarder by Placencia, and it's good. 17 all is the score, 51 ticks left in the 3rd. Lobstein, the running QB, stopped behind the line of scrimmage for a loss of 2. On 2nd and 12, Lane back to pass. It looks like it's going to be a tip drill with Malachi Finau coming up with it and returning it to the 23 of the Lobos, but hold it. It's another play that involves the ref. It looks like a tipped interception, but instead the finger of blame for pass interference is going to point at Dwayne McDougal. Spot foul enforcement puts the ball at the Lobos 30 and an automatic first down. So heading into the fourth quarter, it's who wants this one more and who's going to make a big play. Lobstein carries to start for a gain of 2. Lane back to pass. He is sacked by Trey White for a loss of 4. Third down play is a dead ball foul motion. And the third and long that ensues gains 8 on a completion to Bankston. But the Lobos must punt again from their own 31. Make it their own 26 after a false start. Welsh returns to the Aztec 26. Lobos' DJ McKinney looks hurt on the play, but he gets up and appears to be all right. Game moving right along, though, with running plays, burning clock. 12 minutes to play. Sutton between the tackles for a couple. 2nd and 8. A bad time for a sack and a loss of 8 to Jaden Denigal. 3rd and 16. Announcers say they see Denigal limping a bit after that. He rolls right, though, and finds Dalen Hawkins deep downfield to the Lobo 41. A gain of 35 yards on the play. An incomplete pass will follow up and bring up 2nd and 10. The end around to Hawkins smelled out by Jackson Eck, the coach's son, for a loss of 6. 3rd and 16. Towels waving in the stands, crowd making it tough to hear. The give to Sutton for 6, and a punt by Green out of bounds at the 10. But wait a second, there's a late hit on the return man by Dale-Sean Staley as the ball is going out of bounds. Why? It didn't look like the return man made any effort to avoid the contact, might even initiated it, but why be anywhere near the guy? The yellow flag flies. They call it kick-catch interference. The penalty means the Lobo drive will start on the 21. Lobstein at quarterback, hands to McKinney for no gain. 8:10 to play. Pressure on Lane, the quarterback, as he tries the 2nd down pass. White pressures him into throwing it away. 3rd and 10, pressure again. Lane tries to lob on the run. The receiver cannot come up with it despite being open. The ensuing punt, fielded by Welsh at the 29. He dodges a Lobo or 2 and gets to his own 35. Aztecs turn again. 7:26 left to play. Denigal throws complete to Brown for 12 to the 47. They will follow with a give to Sutton for a loss of 1. They follow that up with a give again to Sutton for a gain of 5. On 3rd and 5, Denigal goes deep to Hawkins, and it was off the fingertips, incomplete. Lobos will start on their own 12 after the punt as we approach the 5-minute mark in the game. Lane shows 8 passing yards on the CBS Sportnet stat sheet for the second half. So first down call is the give to Bankston for 3. 2nd and 7, incomplete pass. 12 out of 23 at this point for Lane. 3rd and 7, it's a quarterback draw that Mr. Williams and Niles King sniff out. The punt ensuing, fielded by Welsh to the 35. Aztecs now with a shot. 3:22 left. They will give to Washington for 7. Clock inside of 3. Lucky Sutton will carry blast into the second level for a gain of 11 into Lobo territory at the 46. They'll take an injury timeout for a Lobo down. There is 2:32 left to play. 3 timeouts, both teams. Lobos have plenty of fans still in the house. A couple of kids out there with their shirts off at the 50-yard line in the stands. So out of the 2-minute timeout, the give to Sutton is met at the line of scrimmage. But his offensive lineman will help move that pile ahead for a gain of 4. Aztecs follow with another give to Sutton that everyone knew was coming. It's no gain. 3rd and 6. The 3rd down call's a disaster in the backfield. There's some RPO action. It gave the defense time to blast in and sack Denigal when he had faked the handoff and looked like he was going to try a throw. The loss is 6. That takes the Aztecs out of field goal range, and instead they have to punt again. It lands inside the 10. There's 41 seconds left. What's the call, Coach X? You try to drive and win or play for OT? The give to Bankston for 5. Aztecs will call timeout to stop the clock. 2nd and 2, 35 seconds left. Bankston will then carry for 10, gain a first down. And now Lane will try a throw. It's a rugby toss. The receiver gets to the 37-yard line, and they pause for a review to make sure Lane's not over the line of scrimmage. They uphold the call on the field. 18 ticks left. Lane goes back to throw and is sacked by Henderson. And that will be the end of regulation play. Lewis, 4 quarters of football in Albuquerque, not enough. We get overtime. Over to you for the first one with the Aztec team captains heading to midfield for the toss of the coin. Here we go.
Okay, Steve, so we go to overtime. Each team gets a possession from the 25 until scoring or failing to make a first down. If it's tied after the first overtime, then teams must go for 2 after a touchdown. New Mexico wins the toss, lets the Aztecs get the ball first. That way the Lobos know what they need to win the game. 1st and 10 from the 25, Jaden Denigal back to pass, has Donovan Brown open in the middle of the field. Ball goes off his fingertips, intercepted by Austin Brawley. So New Mexico needs just a field goal to win the game. So they get the ball from the 25. James Lobstein in at quarterback. He runs left for 15 yards, then a 5-yard run to the 4. They just need a field goal to win the game. Will they kick the field goal? No, Lobstein runs it one more time, keeps it. Dwayne McDougal punches it out at the 3-yard line. Fumble recovered by the Aztecs. So, Steve, we go to a second overtime.
Second overtime now, and holy shnikes, Lewis. Denigal gets another chance to be a hero in the second OT when it looked like the Aztecs were cooked. Aztecs are now open on defense, and they didn't look ready for this one. The first play is a toss into the flat. It's a one-handed catch by Cade Keith, and it turns into a big play for the home team, a 25-yard touchdown. One play. Aztecs surrender the lead, and yet another touchdown. It is 23-17 Lobos, and in this overtime, they must go for it, and it looks like a play fake of some kind. Lane still has it. He lobs complete into the end zone for an apparent conversion, but there is a flag on the play, so hold everything. OMG, this is a holding call. The ball will go back to the 13. Lane will go back to pass once again. He throws into the end zone. It's incomplete, and now it's the Aztecs who must not only score a touchdown, but must get a conversion if they want to win this one. First things first, they give to Sutton between the tackles for no gain. Eck, the coach, leading the cheering on the sidelines. They have chairs in the air and everything. Denigal's second pass is batted down at the line of scrimmage. So on third down, Denigal back to pass, but he decides to run. It's a QB draw to the 10-yard line, and moving on the line for the Aztecs, pushing them back to the 15 on the ensuing play. 1st and 15. And before this play can get off, it's another flag. A lot of noise in the stadium at this point, and they're going to flag Lucky Sutton for movement. I didn't see it on the replay, but call's the call. And yet another flag on the third play. This one, the big center, Ross. Lobos on the field holding up their chairs still, and it is now 1st and 25. Aztecs will give to Washington. He will carry to the 19. It is 2nd and goal. It's loud in there. Denigal back to pass under pressure. He will lose the handle on the football. It will be recovered by a lineman. 3rd and goal, though, from the 25. The Aztecs, next play, Denigal. He has no chance. He is forced out of the pocket, forced out of bounds. It ends up being a 6-yard loss to the 30. And here the Aztecs are now at 4th and goal from the 30-yard line. Last chance for them. The crowd is en fuego. UNM looking to go undefeated at home for the first time since 1962 on one play. Credit the New Mexicans. They are still here making noise, supporting their team, and they have come through in the end for a boatload of penalties against the Aztecs pre-snap. Denigal back to pass on the play. Last play for the Aztecs. He throws on the run. The desperation throw, though, doesn't give receivers a chance as it's out of the end zone. Lobos will win 23-17, double overtime, and now have a chance to host the Mountain West Championship game. We will see what happens. The field, though, loaded with Lobos fans afterwards who stormed the field after the win. Aztecs will not host a championship, and depending on the outcome of the games and the Schmetrics, they may not even get the opportunity to play. And Lewis, Jason Eck has to be in the pole position now for Mountain West Coach of the Year. He will finish with an identical record to Coach Sean Lewis, both overall 9-3 and 6-2 in the Mountain West, tied for first. But the Lobos will own the tiebreaker for hosting because they have held service on their home court.
Final stats, Steve. Total yards, Aztecs with 355. New Mexico with 308. Aztecs 162 passing, 193 on the ground. Time of possession, Aztecs actually led that 31-28 to 28-32 after being down by about 8 minutes after the first quarter. So they really came back and dominated the time of possession the rest of the way, but not able to pull it out. So those are your numbers. Aztecs 9 penalties for 73 yards and New Mexico 6 for 53.
Let's give a shout out to New Mexico's defensive line and the linebacking core because they actually came up with more sacks in that game. 7.8 sacks, according to the official stats. The Aztecs had 5.7 sacks, so they did a better job of pressuring the quarterback in that game. Jaden Denegal, as an individual, 14 completions out of 24 attempts for 162 yards. He had the 1 touchdown, but the 1 interception. And the quarterback Lane for New Mexico, 14 of 25 for 127 yards through the 1 TD. And they had a very impressive running quarterback in Lobstein. Carried the ball 10 times for 70 yards, including the big touchdown run, 40-yard long. The other running back for New Mexico didn't do a whole lot statistically. DJ Bankston, 56 yards on 10 carries, averaged 5.5. There wasn't a whole lot in the air for New Mexico, but their leading receiver were Thomas and Johnson, both with 5 catches and 3, respectively, 31 and 37 yards. Donovan Brown for the Aztecs had the 1 big touchdown. He caught 5 balls for 91 yards. Hawkins, 4 balls for 49 yards. And on the running game, Lucky Sutton was Lucky Sutton. But on the whole, it looked like the New Mexico defense did a pretty good job playing that middle and clogging up the middle of the offensive line where the Aztecs like to operate on. He had 22 carries for 110 yards, the 1 touchdown. And Christian Washington, 11 carries for 77 yards. Jaden Denegal had a big run there in the second overtime. It looked like it was going to put the Aztecs in a position to get on the board and possibly win this thing. But then there were those 3 consecutive dead ball fouls, pre-snap penalties, whatever you want to call them, caused by the crowd. And the Aztecs were never able to get on track in that mode after that. So credit again the Lobos fans for showing up on the day after Thanksgiving and giving the home team the support they needed to pull this one out. Lewis?
Yeah, those 2 fourth down runs, they mirrored each other, and the Aztecs were not able to hold the edge on either of those plays. And you take away those, if they're able to just stuff those, it's a completely different game. But they were not able to, and credit the New Mexico for taking advantage of that, short fourth down situation twice and coming up with touchdowns in each play.
Well, in both respects, it looked like the Lobos took advantage of a very aggressive Aztecs defense that was looking to stuff an interior run. And in both cases, when they were able to bounce that ball outside, there wasn't anybody to contain. And those were a couple of big touchdown runs that helped propel the Lobos to this victory.
So we wait and see what happens with UNLV and Nevada tomorrow and see how the computer metrics come up, cross our fingers. And I think the Aztecs maybe still have an outside chance to host the Mountain West Conference Championship game since a 4-way tie, seeing how it all plays out.
Yep, but again, take care of business, win the game. They no longer control their own destiny, and so they get to be spectators. And I'm sure as a football player, you don't enjoy that as much as if you've already won the game and are just waiting to see who your opponent's going to be, and you're going to have a home game to determine the Mountain West Conference Championship.
No doubt, no doubt.
Okay, that'll wrap up this edition of Aztecs All In, and thanks for checking us out on this Thanksgiving weekend. Yeah, by the way, Lewis, did you have a good Thanksgiving?
I had a wonderful Thanksgiving. A lot of food, ate too much as usual, and spent time with family, and really enjoyed myself. Hope you did too.
Yeah, wonderful. What I did is I got called away on an unexpected assignment out in Cincinnati, and I was helping an old guy named Les Nespin, old friend of mine, who worked for WKRP in Cincinnati. And they were doing some sort of a turkey drop out there, and it didn't work out too well. So,
WKRP.
Yeah. And as the station manager said afterwards, as God is his witness, he thought turkeys could fly. Okay, so we will send this one off into the air out of a helicopter. Thanks again for checking us out, Aztecs All In. Don't forget to like or subscribe wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. You can also follow us on the X. It's Aztecs_all_in. And you can drop us a line, aztecsallin@gmail.com. So when we come to you again, we will know, hopefully, if or when the Aztecs will be playing in a Mountain West Conference Championship game. But until then, this is Steve Perez for Louis Weiner saying thank you for listening, and please enjoy the rest of your holiday weekend.